Welcome back to Cover's Bracket Breakdown. We're looking at the round of 32 games. All of this presented by Bet365. We're looking specifically at Saturday's March Madness action. So all the odds and all the props, you can go and find those at Bet365. Rohit Pannaiya, the man with the hot hand, just gave us a plus 300 prop winner. Rohit, what do you got for a best bet on Saturday?
Yeah, only one game in the East region on Saturday. That is Wisconsin taking on BYU. Should be a fun one, close spread. I like the Badgers here, though. I mean, both these teams have highly efficient offenses, but the Badgers do a significantly better job of taking care of the ball. Top 20 in turnover rate. BYU is outside of the top 200. Other big thing, of course, is free throw percentage. Wisconsin leads the country, hitting almost 83% of their freebies. BYU is 245th. And that could be really crucial in a game with such a close spread. But the big reason, of course, is defense. And the Badgers are pretty solid on the defensive side of things. I wouldn't say they're great, but 26th in the country in adjusted defense, while the Cougars are 67th, really struggling to defend three-pointers. We know that Wisconsin throws up a ton of threes. Those weren't dropping in the first round, but I think we're going to see more of them drop here, and I think they'll be able to pull away.
All right, yeah, that could be a very, very exciting one with a lot of triples. Douglas Farmer, you're glowing. I think it's because you get to talk about a team that is very near and dear to your heart.
Near and dear to my wallet would be more accurate. The Houston Cougars, I'm just going all in. Houston -5 against Gonzaga. I know how good Gonzaga looked against Georgia. Let's take that with a grain of salt. The SEC, it's not faring that well in this tournament. Maybe they shouldn't have gotten 14 teams in. Maybe the middle tier of the SEC was the middle tier of the SEC. Houston is 3-0 against the spread in its last 3 games. 2 of those were the semifinal and the title game in the Big 12 tournament. 5 and 6.5 point favorites, just like they are here. 5-point favorite. Houston forces a ton of bad threes. Anybody want to guess who is not a great 3-point shooting team? More specifically, whose preferred offense does not involve shooting threes? Gonzaga. Gonzaga is going to struggle to find its usual offense because Houston is going to keep it on the perimeter. Give me Houston -5, available at -110 at Bet365, and I'm just going to keep back in Houston. My title pick will march on.
All right, and I'm with you on that too. I like Houston -5 as well too. I'm in the West region. My best bet is for that big coaching matchup, Calipari versus Pitino. I'm going St. Johns under their team total of 75.5. The Pitino, the Calipari thing, it pits 2 of these very good defenses, a number 1 and a number 16 defense against each other, but familiarity also makes these things tight. These guys know each other so well, go back a long time. But the Red Storm, the way that they score points too, they rely on points off turnovers, they rely on offensive rebounds and second chance points. And outside of that, they're a bad offensive team. Arkansas, really long, really fast. They do a great job of protecting the rim and cleaning the glass. I don't think those spots are going to be there for the Johnnies. Game models range from St. John's by, at 73 points up to around 76, but the majority of those models are below 75.5. I think the floor could be even lower in this one. This is going to be a slog of a game, so I like them to go under their team total 75.5 points. Ro, you got a best bet for the South.
I believe that's me today,
Doug,
J-Lo.
you've got a best bet for the South.
I am, while I'm backing the favorite in the Midwest, I'm throwing some doubt on the favorite in the South. Something's wrong with Auburn. I'm not saying Auburn's going to lose to Creighton. I'm not trying to get out over my skis. But Auburn is 0-5 against the spread in its last 5 games, falling short of bookmakers' expectations by an average of 8.6 points. Auburn's a 9-point favorite against Creighton, falls short of the bookmakers' expectations by 8.6. That might get a little hairy. I don't think Creighton's going to win, but Creighton plays so smart. Fewest fouls called against in the entire country this season. That is a Greg McDermott team right there. Nobody on the Auburn roster has made it to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. Creighton has been there each of the last 2 years. But what really has my attention here is I think Creighton is going to make Janai Broome work on both ends of the court. You've got Ryan Kalkbrenner. Yes, he's still around, about to play in his 169th career game for the Blue Jays. He's going to tire out Janai Broome on defense, therefore cutting into Broome's offensive success. That will really help keep this game within 3 possessions. +9 is just too many points, and Bet365 is making that available at neg 105.
Creighton, a big team, plays good defense, definitely could keep it tight. Let's move on to our player spotlights and our player props. You can find a ton of those at Bet365. Rohit, why don't you tip us off here with some player prop picks?
Yeah, I'm going to start off in the South because that kind of tails nicely in with what Doug was talking about in that Creighton game. I'm taking the under on Stephen Ashworth's points, getting that at 16.5. It was coming off a 22-point performance against Louisville in the previous round. And sometimes after those big games, you can see slightly inflated numbers, or at least the public coming hard in on overs. But he's actually gone below this number in 6 of his last 8 games. I mean, this is a guy, I mean, he's like Kalkbrenner, he's been around forever. Older guy, but he's short. He has a tough time creating space with either his speed or his craftiness, especially when he's facing longer and more athletic defenders. This Auburn backcourt has 2 guys like that with Denver Jones and Miles Kelly. So I think he's going to have a tough time here.
All right. Douglas, what do you like for player props there in the Midwest?
You know, if I'm taking Houston by 5, you might expect me to take a Houston player, but I'm actually going to back Gonzaga point guard Ryan Nembhard to make at least 2 3-pointers. That's available at plus 265 at Bet365. Now, that sounds like a bold thought, but here's the construct. Houston forces a ton of opposing threes. 43.2% of opposing shots come from beyond the arc. Nembhard is not a prolific shooter, but he shoots 40% from deep. The ball is going to be in his hands. He's the veteran leader of this team. He's advanced into the second round each of the last 2 years, at Creighton 2 years ago and at Gonzaga last year. So if Houston is forcing Gonzaga to shoot threes, the ball is going to be in Nembhard's hands. Making 2 is a step up for him, but he's a 40% three-point shooter. Asking a 40% three-point shooter who's going to have the ball in his hands to make 2 threes at 265, I will gladly take that significant value in this second-round matchup.
Yeah, game script says that Zags could be playing from behind. Might need some big threes at the end of the game there. For me in the West, I took JT Toppin to go over his point total last night against UNC Wilmington, and they just doubled down, and he couldn't get any touches. But the one thing that he did is he kicked out, and they moved the ball through him on offense. He finished up with 3 assists. His assist total for this matchup here against Drake, a very good defensive team, 1.5 over plus 180. It's just way too high for me. Drake, I think, is going to take the same thing. They're not a great interior defense. They're going to sell out at stopping Toppin inside. They're going to throw extra bodies at him, and that's where he's going to be kicking it out to those open shooters. He had, like I said, 3 assists in the round of 64 game. He actually, like I said, they actually started running the offense through him down the stretch, and it got them out of an offensive funk. Toppin averages only 1.2 assists per game, but he's had 3 in 3 of his last 4. He's had 2+. And he's had 2+ assists in 6 of his last 15 games. Just really good value here at plus 180 to have 2 assists. If you want to take a flyer and feel a little froggy to get 3 dimes, it's plus 300 out there. So I like Toppin over 1.5 assists, plus 180 out there. And Rohit, you had another player prop as well?
Yeah, I mean, in the East region, looking at that Wisconsin BYU game again, I'm taking the under 1.5 threes on Egor Demin. Kind of took this the other night and he made me pay. He went 3 for 7 from deep, but that was a pretty big outlier for him. Even after that game, he's gone over this number just 5 times in his last 25 games, shooting just 22% from deep over that span. I don't see him doing that 2 games in a row, so I'm taking the under this time, and you're going to get a much better number. The under 1.5 threes is minus 130.
All right, good stuff there, Ro. The upsets are going to be tougher the further we get on here, not necessarily upsets. But what are we looking at for Saturday slate? Is there any shockers that could happen? Douglas, why don't you tip us off here? Any signaling the red flags on upset?
For the 3rd time this week, I'm going to tell you that McNeese State is making the Sweet 16. I said it Monday. I said it going into Thursday's games, and now I will say it going into Saturday's games. McNeese State is a plus 200 underdog against Purdue at Bet365. Spread of plus 5.5. I like McNeese State's defense here, and you need a quality defense to take out this Purdue team. McNeese forces a ton of threes. I said against Clemson, they would focus on Chase Hunter. He went 2 of 7 from deep, while the Tigers went 9 of 30 as a whole. Purdue ranks number 11 in the country from deep at 38.3%. But if McNeese makes those tough looks, then the Boilermakers are going to be stressed. McNeese is going to focus on Fletcher Lawyer and Braden Smith, just as High Point did, to worry Purdue for a little bit. And at that point, McNeese's efficient offense is going to take over. Purdue overcorrected after the Zach Edey era. Nowadays, it's a terrible 2-point interior defense. McNeese State is an excellent offensive rebounding team, very good near the rim. That's the kind of high floor offense that will worry Purdue as Purdue misses its threes. Give me McNeese State at 2-1 to make the Sweet 16. I've been saying it all week. I look forward to bringing it home.
Will Wade's ask just keeps going up and up and up the better that team looks, right? Rohit, what do you got for any upsets there on this weekend? I know you have a thin card coming up here. Anything that catches your eye upset wise?
Yeah, I mean, not as ambitious as Douglas there, but I like Michigan.
Rarely are as ambitious as that.
I know. That's I've got Michigan money line here, so plus 125 right now at Bet365. I mean, taking on Texas A&M. I know I faded them in the previous round. They ended up pulling out the win and the cover against Texas A&M. But I do think these teams are kind of pretty much a coin flip between each other. Both these teams are really tough defensively. Texas A&M's 8th in adjusted defense, Michigan's 13th. But the Wolverines shoot the ball much better. The Wolverines also have that, that twin tower combination there with Danny Wolf and Golden. Both those guys are experienced, big dudes. We've seen them play in the tournament in the past. They can do a little bit of everything, and I think they can really compete hard with Texas A&M on the glass, which is really where the Aggies kind of succeed in a lot of ways, is by controlling the glass. So I think this is going to be a really close game. It's going to come down to which team can make its shots, and I do think Michigan has the better shot makers there. So I'll take Michigan on the money line, small underdog play, plus 125.
Yeah, maybe not getting credit. That was a tough game last in that opener against UC San Diego.
Absolutely.
And they got a bit of a scare, maybe a bit of a wake-up call as well, too. For me, so I caught some flack yesterday. My upset pick was an underdog in the first half to cover the first half, not necessarily a thing. And I caught a little flack for it. And then I was kind of pussyfooting around when it came to this slate as well, too. But Arkansas plus 240, think about it, is an upset. The Johnnies come in with a ton of momentum, a ton of hype. But I was running some of the popular game models that are out there, and some of them calling for this game to be a 1.5, basically a one possession game. I talked about the Red Storm's defense outside of, being able to flip defense into offense. They're bad, and they're a bad shooting team. Rarely do we see Arkansas as the better offense on the floor when you look at the level of competition that they've played. And this could very much be this is the SEC. This is the Big East. These guys are used to these kind of games. Maybe the Johnnies get a little soft. But, Arkansas getting healthy as well, too. Boogie Flan came back. He looked pretty good. He played some limited minutes, but he was on there at the end of the game. He's likely going to get some more run, possibly going to get Thero back as well, too. He was at practice on Friday, which could put them at full strength for the first time in a long, long time. And then I already brought this up, the Coach Cal, Coach Patino thing. These guys know each other. This is essentially a de facto Big East game, right? It's in Providence between these two coaches. They know each other so well. We always see divisional games, whether it be football or basketball or baseball. They're always tight. They're always close, no matter where teams are sitting in the standings. They're always competitive games. I think this is going to have that same feel as well, too. So I think Arkansas plus 240 on the money line, worth a shot in this one to pull up a stunner and shake up a lot of brackets. All right.
Proud of you for having that courage to take a money line underdog.
Thank you for basically bullying me into that bet. and then when it wins, I'm going to take all the credit. When it loses, I'm going to say you shouldn't open your mouth.
I have faith in Coach Cal. That's an awkward sentence to say out loud.
All right. Well, that was it for our round of 32 Saturday wrap up here for the bracket breakdown presented by Bet365. You can follow me on X at CoversJLo. Rohit, where can the folks find your bets?
Follow me on X, covers_row, covers_RO. And of course, all our written content is on the site. There's a ton of it, a ton of free picks.
Yeah. And Douglas, where can you bully people into making bets?
D_farmer. I only seem to need to bully you. Most people look into March Madness, excited to cheer for the underdogs, and you are here picking only chalk. D_farmer believes in Cinderella stories.
Oh, all right. The lovely, lovely fairy tale. All right. Hopefully you have a great Saturday. Good luck with your bets.